I'm Mark.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Patrick.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about the launch and what people suspect for the robotaxi in Austin. But first, Casey's going to roll that title card.
You're in a Johnny Cab.
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you being there. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming robo-taxi or robo-cab. Is it robo-cab or no? It's robo-taxi is what's going to start with.
Whatever it was, they didn't get the trademark.
Yes, robo-taxi was too generic, the trademark office said. I think cybercab, they're not going to have that problem. But so the generic service is robo-taxi, and that can be any of Tesla's vehicle types.
Right. So we've got a launch that's happening, of course, in Austin, Texas, where our headquarters is, in June. And the company is getting ready by hiring staff, doing some training. And I am sure that they have mapped and double mapped and tried to figure out what maybe problem areas of Austin exist, where the typical pickups and drop-offs are going to happen based on data that they've collected. And of course, being able to track that in real time and possibly have to, who knows, make changes on the fly. But this is exciting times. Here we are, June 15th, so in the middle of the month almost. And it's the 14th today, but May 14th.
Yeah.
So we are just about 2 weeks away from June. So this is coming really quickly. And the article that we've quoted below was from Business Insider. And they got what they say, some information from internal people. So it will be interesting to see if they're on base with this. But some of the information shared is that the company has about 300 test operators, and it's worked to build up what they call critical miles. Not really sure what critical miles are exactly, but obviously that's going to be something along the lines of most traveled miles or typical destinations and pickups, I would imagine. Being able to understand how long vehicles are going to be on the road, how many passengers will come in an average day with the number of cabs that they're going to be rolling out. So we've got a lot of factors that I'm sure Tesla is data crunching as these weeks tick by.
Yeah, I would suspect that the critical is going to be something like either the edge cases or their core. Like if you don't do this, the service fails. So that would be how I would interpret critical without them telling us what it means.
And one thing they don't have a lot of data for is pickup and drop off. And that can be tricky. I mean, some spots have dedicated area for cabs and other places to do pickup and drop off, but a lot of spots don't. And so all the FSD miles that they get from customers' vehicles, that's not going to include that. That's usually going to be just parking, and maybe that's what they'll do in a lot of spots. They'll just park in a normal parking spot, but at a hotel or an airport or whatever, they're going to have to address that differently.
Airport will be the hardest because there's a separation between taxis and relatives and somebody who's not an Uber or Lyft, and then the paid limousines and chauffeurs and taxis. So what does it count as, and how do they handle that? Because
hopefully there's something almost like a manual override that they can put into the AI learning system to be able to indicate that certain locations require certain mappings, maybe that the vehicle would have to take. And of course, and that means that if you're going to arrivals, you can only use the outer left lanes or something along that line that they can maybe program in.
Right. So I assume that's what they mean by these critical areas. That it's stuff they don't currently have training data for. They have to special case it until that has been learned and trained.
Yeah, I mean, because like with the airports especially, that's not something that's ever really published. I mean, you can go to their website and find it, or you can go to the service, like if you're an Uber driver or Lyft driver, and say, okay, well, this is the Uber lot, this is the Lyft lot, or this is the rideshare lot. But you won't find that on many airports. You won't find that on a sign on approach, and that could get. You don't want your passenger getting screamed at. That's a bad. A
bad experience.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and with nobody else in the driver's seat, or what appears to be the driver's seat, they would probably try and issue the passenger citation because they want their money.
Yeah, it's as we've said in previous shows, this is not going to be the Cybercab's debut. This is going to be especially Model Ys. Most up-to-date Model Ys, probably with a little bit of extra updated software as well for their FSD. But that is what's going to be out there. So it'll be curious to see if they let people sit behind the driver's seat. If there is a driver's seat, will there be a steering wheel or control pedals at all? Or are they going to remove them in these special vehicles? Or protect them from use some way by putting a shield up or something along that line?
Right, and we've seen Waymos do that, where they have a protective thing around the steering wheel so that people can't just grab it.
Right.
Well, plus don't forget that their permit is basically with the safety driver. So the last thing you want to do is get your safety driver enough citations their license gets removed.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So I was just wondering if they were going to have a safety driver at launch. And so it sounds like when this kicks off in June, at least it's scheduled for June. This article said internally their date is June 1st, but externally they're just saying June, which means that allows them to push it out to the end of the month and still make their commitment, which is, the smart way to do things is have a aggressive internal date and theory of constraints. You always build in some buffer because things happen.
Exactly. Well, unless you're Musk, then you just run for it. But
right, he's learned the lesson somewhat.
Oh. So the way they described it, I don't remember if it was California or Texas Department of Transportation. Seemed like they were willing to play ball with this. Here it is. We're going to prove it out, and then we're going to aggressively turn it into a driverless service. So this will be fun to watch.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Another piece of information shared with the article was that Tesla, of course, has rolled out a version of the Robotaxi app. We've seen some screenshots of that in the past, but they have a newer version that's been released to autopilot engineers. And they've also held a special event with local first responders.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they're making aware emergency services that the vehicle is going out, and they've probably indicated to them how to enter a vehicle if you can't, the door won't open for whatever reason, or if there is an emergency, someone has to be evacuated out of a vehicle that's not, or someone's been had a heart attack in the vehicle or something along that line. I'm sure that there has to be ways to egress a person if the equipment's not performing properly or the person inside is unable to perform their duties properly.
Hopefully they do more of these events and then make the training more accessible than Waymo did, because the people first responding to the Waymo vehicles, it was embarrassing and dangerous. You had the one that stopped next to the fire. Okay, well, we got to fight the fire. Move. Then you had the ones where, you went back to your motorcycle. All right, I'm going to take off. Mm-hmm. It was getting pulled over. No, it needed to stay where it was. And so I'm hoping that they do better. It needs to be that way.
Absolutely. So it will be interesting to see at launch how this goes. They are, again, this person that's sharing this information with the article had indicate that, of course, the initial vehicle will be the Model Y, as we've said before, but he's estimating the program will launch with somewhere in the area of 10 to 20 vehicles at the very beginning. So
Not too
I don't know.
small.
Does that seem small to you guys for a city Austin size, or is this something that Tesla has to manage by walking before they run?
Well, I mean, like if the first week you have 20 and you shake it down, and then the next week you have 40 or 80, and then keep going, then yeah, that's fine. But if it's 20 for like a quarter, that's kind of teeny tiny.
Well, if you pull out your app and say, I need a ride, and they say, I'll be there in 90 minutes, that's not going to fly. So they're going to have to add significantly more vehicles relatively quickly. And that whole walk before you run, they should have been doing that with a closed beta and employees, and maybe an invite only with a small number of people. Once you say, hey, it's launching in June, anybody can use it, you better have more than 20 vehicles.
Well, that's another question that's come up, Patrick, and it's not answered in this article, but is it going to be anybody can grab the app, or is it going to be there's a limited amount of people that are allowed to have the app? Maybe it's based on, the first, let's say 700 people that download the app. They start off with 1,000 people or 700 people that can download the app. They look at over how much use each person is doing, and then they may up from there to 2,000 or 4,000 based on the use that the first group has it.
It'll be interesting to see how it rolls out.
Yeah, the only way that this feels right with 20 cars is if it's like this is the soft launch, and then the grand opening is at the end of June or something. Because, like Patrick said, if you open up the app and it says you go wait 2 hours for that first ride, it's
yeah. People are just gonna not use it. I mean, they might take one ride for the novelty and then say, okay, well, I'm not going to use this if I actually need to get somewhere at a certain time because they don't have enough vehicles out.
Yeah.
So I think they have to ramp really quickly.
And then you've got the whole point about people going to be writing about it. It's like, oh, this guy, he's always with the big talk and he doesn't know how to tell time. And look at this. He launched just 20 cars. And it took 3 hours to get my first ride and blah, blah, blah. They can't afford that.
Right. They can't. Yeah, Musk is always late, and so are cybercabs. I can see the headline already. They've been working on this for 9 years, and it's still 3 hours late, or whatever.
My dinner was cold, and they canceled my reservation. They gave me a doggy bag and said there'll be $100. So.
Exactly. So in the article, again, this person has shared with the article that the demo program, of course, does feature a safety driver who sits in that chair and can take over whenever needed. And that is something that's going to be very interesting because, of course, we've seen safety drivers before, but I'm not sure if we've seen it at this scale. Every time you talk about a safety driver, there has been some issues with other services. But have they opened it up to the city, or is I know that previous ride-hailing services have limited the use for some people, some group of people within a certain neighborhood in some cases, and certainly it's been employees to start, but then they moved it out to a little bit larger. So again, not sure how the deployment's going to happen here, but it will be interesting to see how it ramps and what the limits are on the system for drives. Because someone's going to put in, I want to go to Waco, Texas. And, and they're going to say, okay, that's 3 hours. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, I'm going to get it in Austin and I want to go to Miami, Florida.
No way to get back. To be fair on the scale thing, I'm nodding in agreement to when it's fully rolled out, as they say, before they take the next step, because obviously everybody's done a scale of 20 cars in some random city.
Yeah, so this is again, we're getting real close now. We're probably we're certainly 6 weeks away from the end of June. So it will be interesting to see if they do roll it out near the beginning of the month. If that's the case, we're looking at 2 weeks, maybe 3. And otherwise could be up to 6. But as Patrick has mentioned, there typically always is unforeseen circumstances, and that's why you give yourself some buffer time, and that's what they've done here.
Hopefully, this is the end of the buffer time, and they're just ready to go. But I'm not holding my breath on that based on past performance with this company.
Well, with safety drivers, they could do it today, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that helps. That
FSD?
smooths over a lot of the bumps of not having. Like we just talked about some examples of, okay, if it's having problems at the airport, it doesn't know which way to go. You have a safety driver, they take over, they get to the right spot. All that becomes training information for the next round and of FSD for the service, and that gives them the data that they need.
Yeah, or it might not even be the car. It could be the freaking app. Like it took 8 weeks after I got the Grok app before it would actually let me log in with my X account. So it might not even be the car that makes this thing weird. But at least then, like I said, safety drivers again, they could manually punch in the address on the screen, and then you just get free rides instead of running the meter or whatever. So
yeah. So you out there watching the video, what do you expect to happen? Are you excited for this launch? Do you live somewhere in Austin? Will you be trying to grab the app and use it? Let us know in the comments. I'd like to hear what you're thinking about as we get close to the launch of Robotaxi and some autonomous ride-hailing services in play.
Right. Yeah. Will it be cheaper than Uber and Lyft? And if so, by how much?
better be. I mean, that's the whole selling point. But it might not, which would be disappointing.
You never know. You never know. Casey, any shout outs for this week?
Yeah. Catch me on Sunday over at youtube.com/Casey Green or x.com @gcustom, or Let's Chat with Casey and Friends, and then come back here on Monday for our the Express second edition.
Very good. Patrick?
As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net, where I write about my future free from fossil fuels.
Have you got a new article listed, or when's the next one coming out?
I do have one coming in a couple weeks, and since I don't have it off the tip here, I'm going to just say you'll have to check it out to see what it is.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on the video, press that subscribe button, and follow us on X at The Tesla Life if you'd like to see what's happening in between shows. And with that, we'll say goodnight, and we'll get together next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla Life.
Good night, Bob.
Who's Bob?